So this is going to be a clip showing you Django's Revenant, actually, and he said that this is the ugliest Revenant that you will ever see. Enjoy.
There we go. But now I literally just made him try to look as ugly as possible. Like red with green and then with brown, and like it looks disgusting. That's what I like about it. Because that would basically be me in real life. Like I have no fashion sense at all. I just wear whatever the fuck I want. Yeah, like that could be me in real life. Green hat, brown shirt, and red pants or something. Even though I don't have red pants, because I don't know who has that.
Alright, let's continue with the video. Due to popular requests, a lot of people wanted to see Revenant or Gunslinger. I actually recorded the Neon Ninja video, but seeing that a lot of people wanted to see Revenant or Gunslinger, I decided to choose the better out of the two when it comes to Uber 10 grinding, which is going to be the Revenant. The Revenant is better than Gunslinger, and when it comes to dungeon grinding, we all know that the Revenant just triumphs and destroys the Gunslinger when it comes to dungeon grinding, because Gunslinger's momentum is kinda but anyways, just going to say thank you for the support on the last episode. I did not expect that amount of support. When I saw that the first 24 hours over 1,000 views, I'm like, oh god, what the hell, what? So yeah, like, thank you for the amount of support. So today I will be talking about the Revenant, and yeah, let's get started. Hello and welcome to another JNMG video. I'm your host JonNario and welcome to another Trove End Game. This time featuring the Revenant. My Revenant is currently sitting at 33,856 power rank, and my stats are going to be as follow. You're going to notice something like this because I actually, before this recording, I actually fully augmented my damage and my critical damage. So this is as max physical and critical damage that I can get currently on my Revenant. So you're seeing the stats right now on screen. And you probably can tell that I said maxed out physical and critical damage, not light. This character is my tank when it comes to Shadow Towers, so I have it as high coefficient, just highly damaged build. I'm going to just explain the importance of having high light, but with the Revenant you don't need a lot of light to begin with. You can do Uber 10 without light just fine because of the stupid DPS and just overall effectiveness of this character. But yeah, those are the stats you're already seeing right there on screen. My gear, it is like I mentioned, this is my Shadow Tower build character. Just for the sake of this video, I will do some rerolls. So now that I have it right here, you can probably tell that I changed all my attack speed to movement speed, because this is what I would recommend you to have on something like Revenant. You can use attack speed, movement speed. Attack speed, movement speed is actually very fun with the Revenant. But I will just use critical damage, movement speed, all pieces of gear for this video specifically. But normally for Shadow Tower I would be using something like attack speed because of the extra DPS that I can do. So I can max out in DPS with this character. So now my movement speed is at base 99 like the Knight. So yeah, that is my movement speed, critical damage gear, all pieces of gear. Maximum health, physical damage, critical hit. I just wanted to make it consistent. I need critical hit in order to achieve 100%. Physical damage because I want to deal as much damage as possible. And maximum health because I want to get as much maximum health as possible with this character, even though this character doesn't need a lot of maximum health because it does gain a lot of maximum health by default. I believe it's a 45% by default. I have Rev Basic because it's the best dungeon grinding ally, physical damage ally in the game. Stellar Fire, Magifying Rain, this character doesn't need anything else. I'm going to change Chrono Emblem with Trailblazing because again I want as much movement speed as possible with this character. Martial because damage, and Conjurer's Gusto Vial because, you know, this is my own personal vial of choice. And the Mounted Cavalry Knight subclass because, you know, why not use the Mounted Cavalry Knight subclass? Why the hell not? I have Gonda, so I might as well just use this with Gonda so I can just keep in the air and I don't lose any jumps. But yeah, I just have this for the extra flats and whatever. Moving on into my gems. My gems are going to be as follow. Fully maxed out, fully augmented in physical damage and critical damage on all of my gems. They're not fully augmented in critical hit because I don't need more critical hit. However, this character has a 2 critical damage, 1 physical damage roll across all of my empowered gems. You can tell, including the cosmic. And my lesser gems are 2, 1 physical, all of them, including my cosmics. Like I mentioned, this character is built pretty differently It is a 2-1 physical, 2-1 crit damage, high coefficient. It is a 20 physical damage roll, 16 critical damage roll. So 20 and 16 is actually the roll that I'm rocking with the Revenant. But the Revenant, what I would recommend for Uber 10 type grinding is Paradise, Vampire Vanquisher, and Class Gem. You will be using Bulwark Bash as your one-shot capability. And Paradise and Vampire Vanquisher, I don't have any of them, but for the extra movement speed, that is the thing that you should keep out. So this character's biggest weakness is going to be the movement speed, so Vampire Vanquisher and Paradise are going to be a no-brainer. Stun Burst, I will use whichever you want. I have the Shadow Tower build, like Sting Curse, Berserk Battler, and Stun Burst. The reason I have Berserk Battler is because of the extra attack speed, and I want as much attack speed as possible when it comes to Shadow Tower. But dungeon grinding, I will recommend you to use Vampire Vanquisher. However, you need Class Gem with this character if you're doing the Uber 10 build, because you will be using Bulwark Bash as your main damaging ability. And yeah, so that's everything regarding this. You can use whichever another ability that you want, as long as you have Paradise, Vampire Vanquisher. And yeah, so I will be going into Uber 10 right now. So what do I think of the Revenant at end game? Oh yeah, so I actually was testing, oh, I pressed the wrong button. So I was testing the Revenant before actually doing the second part of the recording, like the Uber 10 recording, just so I can just do a proper testing and give you like the proper recommendation on how to use the character end game, how does the character perform at end game. And I'm just going to say that this character is extremely powerful. It's kind of ridiculous. I already knew that the character was already strong, but it's very, very good. And I pretty much have to say that, yeah, just if I get asked which is the best character, I'll probably just say that the Revenant is the best character in the game. I know it's a bold statement, like, oh my god, yeah, Ninja is faster, yeah, Ninja is better, oh, Gunslinger does more DPS. I'm not saying that this is better than the Gunslinger and better than the Neon Ninja in terms of what they're doing. Like, I'm not saying that this is faster than Neon Ninja. I'm not saying that this does more DPS than Gunslinger. I'm just going to say that this character is better overall because it does everything just well. Compared to something like Gunslinger, the Gunslinger does one thing specifically, and that is extremely high DPS when it comes to ultimate ability. Neon Ninja is going to be an extremely fast character, but it's not a good character when it comes to, you know, Shadow Towers. Well, it can be decent as solo Shadow Tower, but it's not going to be the best out there. I'm just saying that the Revenant is better than the Gunslinger when it comes to dungeon grinding, and it's better than the Neon Ninja when it comes to doing Shadow Tower. So it's better overall compared to both of them. So the character overall, it might be the best character in the game. This, the Ice Age, and Vanguardian might be the top 3 characters. And I'm going to say that right now that this might be the top out of everything, because just let me know in the comments below, what do you think are the weaknesses of the Revenant? I'm just going to try to point out some weaknesses that I found out when I was doing some testing here in Uber 10, and just going to say that if you find a weakness, like a really big weakness compared with this character, let me know in the comments below. Like, I was failed to find like a really strong weakness with this character. So let me just go into Uber 10 Revenant. Uber 10 Revenant is not the fastest character out there. If I compare to some character out there, it's going to be a slower Knight. So the Knight is going to be better than this in Uber 10 end game grinding. Both of them can one-shot, and the Knight has better momentum, and the Knight has better crowd control overall compared to like the Revenant when it comes to basic attack and something like Spirit Squire, because the Spirit Squire has better range. Obviously the Revenant has Spirit Spears, which has like a cone in front of you, but it doesn't have the same range as the Knight Spirit Squire. So the character is good, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm going to say that the character is good. Like, compared to something like the Knight, like, I feel that the Knight is a top character for Uber 10 grinding because of the insane momentum, one-shot capability, stun, really good survivability, like overall effectiveness in Uber 10. I feel that the Knight is a top tier character. So seeing that this character is comparable to that of the Knight is actually a good thing. So things that you have to keep in mind. First and foremost, the multipliers on this character are just out of this world. They are ridiculous, they are just over the top. However, they are slow in terms of like everything. Everything just does so much damage, but it's slow. Let's start off with basic. Basic attack does a staggering 4 times damage multiplier. A 4 times damage multiplier is no joke. The only basic attack that does more damage is the Fate Trickster's passive basic. that does 5.5, but anything else, everything just does less than the Revenant's basic. It does 4 times damage. That is stronger than even some abilities. And that's no joke. Like 4 times damage is no joke. However, the only bad thing about the Revenant's basic is that it is a slow basic attack. You probably can tell I don't have any attack speed gear and comparable to the Knight. Both of them had the same attack speed percentage, but you're seeing that the Revenant basic attack feels much slower. And that is because the attacks per second on the Revenant is a really low 1.25. If you want that as a comparison, the Gunslinger's basic attack is a 2.5. So the Gunslinger's basic attack is literally double that of the Revenant. So it is slow. The basic attack is slow. It's very, very slow. So that is a thing that you have to keep in mind with the Revenant. It's such a high damaging but slow moving character. And that's why I will say that this is a slower Knight. Does more damage and it is a slower Knight. But I'm just going to say that still it is a great character. Basic attack I already mentioned. Bulwark Bash, which is going to be your main damaging ability when it comes to Uber tank grinding if you're going with the highlight route. And like I mentioned, highlight is very, very important. I will probably just put some text on screen, like the difference between 3700 and the coefficient of the Revenant, and the coefficient on the Knight, the regular coefficient, and the Uber 10 Knight. Like, the difference is staggering. I believe the Revenant was dealing with the passive ability like 2.6 million damage, and that is with a coefficient of God knows how much. Like, the Revenant's coefficient with the passive is just ridiculous, but just seeing the light is a big difference. Like, I'm dealing more damage with the Knight with close to half the coefficient. It's kind of ridiculous. Like, get a lot of light if you're going with the Uber tank build. But the Revenant, you don't need light. You're seeing right now on screen, I don't have light rolls. I can just one shot just fine. It's because going with the second ability, which is going to be Bulwark Bash. Bulwark Bash, it is an extremely over the top ability when it comes to multiplier. What is the multiplier, you might be asking? 9.5 times damage. That's ridiculous. Like 9.5 times damage, the only ability that does the same damage from a base multiplier is the Neon Ninja Shuriken. The Neon Ninja Shuriken does 9.5 times damage base. This is so ridiculous. 9.5 times damage, second strongest regular ability in the entire game. So you're saying that it has the second highest multiplier basic, second highest multiplier ability in the entire game. So saying right there, extremely high damaging character. But there's the catch, which is going to be lost in movement speed. This character ability takes, like, I will say close to half a second to activate. So it takes close to half a second to activate, and that half a second it actually lowers your movement speed. Though you can see I'm running over 100. I will say with this I'm running with Raptor Berserker and Trailblazing. That is like 149 movement speed. So you're going to see right there that I'm losing all sorts of movement speed whenever I activate Bulwark Bash. That is a big deal, by the way, in terms of momentum, because if you want to kill enemies and if you have a lot of movement speed with this character, you're going to feel like a big difference whenever you use Bulwark Bash. You're going to lose all your movement speed like in like a second, and it's going to lose out on a little bit of momentum. It doesn't mean that the momentum is bad, it's just comparable to something like the top momentum type characters, Knight, Guardian, Neon Ninja, all those characters out there. This character is like slightly above average, but it's still slow comparable to those top tier characters when it comes to momentum. And it doesn't change the fact that this character doesn't have any movement speed buff, base movement speed at 40, and it doesn't have the best dodge in the entire game. It is one of the worst actually. It's not bad. It's not worse than the Knight, but you probably can tell right here that you lose all sorts of movement speed. So it doesn't have the best momentum with the dodge on this character. So you can probably tell there's a theme with this character. It's going to be everything with this character is going to be high damage, just extremely high damage, but everything is going to be slow. So if you're going with this character, I would recommend you to have Vampirian Vanquisher. Prior this as much movement speed as you can, and just focus on using Spirit Spear Basic or Spirit Spear Bulwark Bash. Just use Spirit Spear on Cursed Skulls, and against bosses do not use Spirit Spear because you're going to lose all types of movement speed. It's a kind of a shame, but at the same time it really isn't, because if it were like really high momentum, that this character would be overpowered, even though it kind of is right now, but it will be just too overpowered. It will make you ask your question like, why would I want to use this character if I had the Revenant? It does everything just fast. It literally has one of the better crowd control out there. It does so much damage. It can one shot. You don't need light. You can have high coefficient. You can do shadow tower. Has high survivability. It literally does everything that you want. And you probably can tell that it just does everything just fine. So that is the thing with this character. It's so strong, but it's kind of slow. It has above average momentum, but comparable to the top tier character, it doesn't hold the candle because again it still loses movement speed whenever you activate Bulwark Bash, and Bulwark Bash being a really close range ability, you have to get really close to the enemy, so the timing is much more stricter, and being a 1 second cooldown, it's not like Spirit Squire. With Spirit Squire you can spam it, just go really you can just spam Spirit Squire like crazy, and with the Revenant you cannot do that. You cannot just spam Bulwark Bash from really far away, because again, every single Bulwark Bash you are losing all sorts of movement speed. Compared to something like Spirit Squire, you can just go again really fast and just keep spamming all sorts of abilities. Just go and watch the Knight video if you haven't already. Just watch the Knight's momentum. You're going to see that the Knight does not lose any movement. So you know what? I'm not even going to do that. I'm not going to do that to you. I'm just going to show you special cameo Knight on the Revenant video. I'm just going to say that I know I have Vampire and Vanquisher. I know I have Rev Berserker. I know I have Pyodis, but I'm just going to show you this is just Rev Berserker, Vampire and Vanquisher, and there we go with Pyodis. So you can tell that I'm not losing any movement speed. That is Spirit Squire compared to Bulwark Bash. Compared to something like Bulwark Bash, you're running like really fast, and then you see an enemy, you had to, see, it's kind of difficult, like the timing is much more stricter, so you had to go right next to the enemy, and you can tell that it loses all sorts of movement speed. Still a great character though, still in my opinion the best character overall in the game. And yeah, that is all I wanted to say about the Revenant. If I missed something, I don't think I missed anything, like anything important. I just went overview on those, on the Spirit Spear, on the basic attack, on the lack of momentum, the actual weakness of this character. I didn't go over the ultimate ability, but we all know that the ultimate ability is just great. It just pulls enemies, just extra DPS. It's going to be like a Spirit Spears. But even though it's going to be like Spirit Spear, you don't not lose any movement speed, so it's just worth doing the ultimate ability. And whenever you see bosses, so see like a 3-star boss right there, you can just use the ultimate ability because you're not going to lose any movement speed, so there's no point in not doing it. So yeah, the Revenant is great. Not the fastest character out there. It really does everything just fine. And Curse Call is just an amazing character. You can do this. And yeah, before I just go, and I know for a fact that some people are just going to say, what are you talking about? What is wrong with you? Revenant is amazing. Revenant is top tier. Revenant is low. What the hell? I don't know what the hell was that. It's like 6:40 in the morning, so I barely just woke up, like not that long ago, and I'm like all over the place. I'm just going to say that the Revenant it's a slow moving, high damaging character. I will strongly recommend you to have something if you're going with the light route and going with the over 10 build, go with movement speed and something like attack speed, movement speed, so you can patch both weaknesses, which is going to be the slow movement speed and the slow attack. And just don't even focus on getting a lot of critical damage on your gear, because you don't need to. You already do so much damage that you don't need a lot of critical damage. You're still going to do one shot. So attack speed, movement speed are going to be the best option for a Revenant. Get Vampire and Vanquisher, get as much movement speed as you can with this character, and as long as you get a lot of movement speed, a lot of attack speed, you're going to do just fine with the Revenant. It's not going to be the fastest character out there because all abilities loses all sorts of momentum, like Bulwark Bash, Spirit Spear, and yeah, so Bulwark Bash and Spirit Spear, even though being the two top abilities, is kind of when it comes to momentum. Like you use basic attack and Spirit Spears on Curse Skull, Bulwark Bash on bosses, and that's it. So yeah, anyways, I'm rambling all too much. Thank you for watching, thank you for sticking around as always. Leave a like if you want to help the channel grow, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, And that is all for today. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Take care and keep on hunting. And this has been the Revenant at End Game. See ya.